Story 1. Ice cream sandwiches. We didn't receive raises because it was a tough year and our department did not increase revenue, as we were in research and development. Our competitors brought an ice cream truck and parked it next door, giving out free ice cream and applications, allowing people to talk to their human resources team. They were specifically targeting our research and development team. Most of my coworkers attended because it was a fancy ice cream truck they had seen but never purchased from due to the high cost. My director panicked and instructed his executive assistant to get ice cream while telling people not to go. She returned with value brand ice cream sandwiches and only about 6 boxes, despite there being 120 engineers in our department. I only remember the managers going over to get them. About 2/3 of my team left within the next 6 months. Story 2. I worked at a large auction house for wealthy clients doing manual labor. For Christmas, we received a coupon for a cup of coffee from the coffee shop in the building. We had free coffee. I still have the coupon. It's a nice reminder of what I walked away from. Story 3. I worked at a company for 9 years and experienced some of its toughest times. I often worked unpaid overtime and went above and beyond. These were some of the highlights the manager pointed out during a recognition speech about me. He concluded with, "Most families save the biggest piece of chicken for the breadwinner. So keeping with that tradition, I'm offering you the biggest and first slice of cake." After being recognized in such a manner, I waited about a month for an actual monetary bonus. Upon receiving nothing, I submitted my resignation, citing the speech and the lack of a tangible reward for my efforts. Story 4. I was laid off on Christmas Eve. As the foreman, he called me first and asked me to inform the rest of the crew. I told him to do it himself because I no longer worked for him. Story 5. A box of 5 small chocolates to thank us for the release of a product that doubled the company's revenue. Story 6. My previous retail job provided us with turkey vouchers for Thanksgiving. When we went to redeem them, it turned out they were actually $5 off if you purchased a turkey worth $25 or more. Story 7. We had 11 workers quit on the spot because they wanted to have a meeting with the chief operating officer about their wages and schedules, but he shut them down. The office was scrambling to replace them. It was chaos. Later that week, they ordered pizza for everyone to show their appreciation for their workers. Pizza doesn't pay my bills. Story 8. Although we have made record profits, we cannot provide raises or bonuses for employees. However, management will receive both. Story 9. Target. My annual review resulted in an 8-cent raise. Also, if they increase the minimum wage, you do not retain the bonus. Story 10. I worked in sales for a major wood products manufacturer. I achieved record-breaking sales of $51 million for my territory, while the second place sold $12 million. I received a $100 bonus, and the individual in second place received a Rolex. The CEO made a joke about it at the sales conference, stating, "Sometimes it's best to come in second place." I walked out, typed my 2-week notice, and started my own company as a direct competitor of my former employer. I'm still in business. They are not. Story 11. A Christmas card with signatures from the management team. It was from Walmart. Why do they think the associates would want a picture of the management team? We didn't even want to see the managers while we were working. Story 12. I worked for a small sales-based company. They were pushing hard for the first $1 million month and kept saying it would be worth our while. We assumed a big bonus, a trip, a fancy steakhouse, something. When we finally hit it, we each received a bobblehead of one of the executives. We decided to trade them. The chief executive officer was worth less than the chief financial officer, and human resources was worth the least. It became a running joke until human resources sent an email stating we had to stop. Story 13. After 7 years of being a top employee in my division and receiving no raises, I decided to find a new company to work for. I was informed that there wasn't much of a budget for merit increases, yet they had enough funds to hire you two to perform at an executive-level brunch. Story 14. Years ago, I worked in a call center and won awards for handling the most calls in an hour. There was a girl who only wore long skirts. She won a ticket to wear jeans, but due to her cultural beliefs, she could not do that. Instead, she wore a long skirt made from denim and tried to explain that it was not the same as wearing jeans. She tried to explain that she couldn't wear jeans and that the award given to her was meaningless since she could not use it. However, they told her it was her problem. In response, she rebelled by having longer phone conversations. Story 15. Not me, but my mom, who was an elementary school teacher. One year, they received keychains. The teachers put them in a big envelope and sent them back. Story 16. I released a product that I developed with multiple engineers, sourced internationally, and sold for $87 million in the first quarter at 68% profit margins. I was asked, "What's next?" Not a single thank you, no bonus, nothing. I single-handedly saved the company from a margin crisis that would have significantly impacted our stock, costing shareholders and executives millions of dollars. All I received was a "what's next?" I waited 4 months for my 5-year contract with them to expire and expressed in the nicest way possible that I wanted to move on. They scrambled to try and keep me, but I explained that I did not feel appreciated considering the revenue I had generated for the organization, and that I would find a company that would compensate me according to my value. I did. In the process, I pursued them every chance I got and made a substantial amount of money. Greed can have serious consequences. Corporations still have not figured it out. Story 17. A poinsettia after Christmas was over. They used them to decorate the restaurant, and then they handed them out to employees instead of properly caring for or disposing of them. Story 18. Not me, but a coworker. Every Christmas, a corporation I used to work for had a Christmas raffle. There were 2 to 3 decent prizes. The rest were items worth $5 to $10. Everyone received a ticket, and we gathered in the large conference room for the event. I was sitting with my coworker when his ticket number was finally called by the head of human resources, who tried with obvious insincerity to hype each item as if it were gold. He walked up and received a keychain fob that beeped when you whistled, helping you find your car keys. He took it, returned to our table and said, "I'm a grown man. I've never lost my car keys in my life," then tossed the keychain on the table and left the room. The following week, he came in, cleared out his area, and walked out, never to be seen again. That was the final straw for him. Story 19. Management made a mistake, and their solution was to mandate 90-hour weeks from everyone for several months. We were informed that management would make it right. They announced that the president and chief executive officer would come to personally thank us and give us a bonus. The day arrived, and sure enough, he arrived in his $300,000 Mercedes, spoke for a while, and then had his assistant hand out envelopes with our bonuses. The generous bonus? A $25 gift card to Walmart. Story 20. At my previous job, I was promoted. They couldn't give me a raise because of the economy, but they certainly increased my workload. I was there for 3.5 years and never received a raise despite exemplary work. So when my coworkers were recruited by a company we collaborated with, I decided to apply and was hired after my initial phone interview. When I handed in my notice, I made sure to mention that my decision was influenced by the economy. This coming September, I will have been with my current job for 15 years. I receive annual raises, quarterly bonuses, a yearly bonus, and company stock. Know your worth and seek employment where you are valued. Story 21. Not me, but a guy I worked with was central to a major technology implementation. At the end, they gave him a $5 gift certificate for Baskin-Robbins. His exact quote to me was, "It would have been better if they had given me nothing because now they told me my worth." He was still justifiably upset about it years later. Story 22. A certificate congratulating me on my 20-year work anniversary is literally just a piece of paper. My wife has a better story, though. The hospital where she works gave employees a $50 gift card for a jewelry store. They then taxed her on it as income and deducted it from her paycheck. She doesn't buy or wear jewelry, so the gift ended up costing her money. That same year, the hospital reported record profits due to all the layoffs. Story 23. A $50 Amazon gift certificate. How could I feel bad about what was essentially cash? I was part of a 4-person team that secured a $26 million software contract for my company. I wrote half of the proposal as the software technical lead and refined the rest of the text. The other 3 team members were one level above me in the hierarchy, and one of them bought a Lexus with his bonus. Story 24. I wasn't directly involved, as I work in IT, but we hired about 100 data entry clerks for a significant project. When we completed the project, management brought in several sheet cakes to celebrate. While people still had cake with blue icing in their mouths, the manager said, "Thank you all for the hard work and for finishing ahead of schedule. But now that the contract is finished, you are all being let go." It was like the sound of a record player scratching, and everyone froze to look at her. To this day, it gives me the chills to think about it. I don't understand the point of having a cake if you are firing everyone. Story 25. Unpaid overtime. You have to work, but we won't pay you. If you don't work, you'll never be paid again because you'll be fired. Story 26. I worked throughout the pandemic, coming into contact with people from all over the world. I cannot disclose the specifics of my job, but it was in the public sector. After the pandemic ended, we were each given a sachet of porridge as a bonus. We felt fortunate. Story 27. They mailed us a package to show their appreciation. It included a pen that never worked, a speaker that requires an auxiliary cable, and a branded hat from a sponsor. The next day, they announced that everyone is being let go. Story 28. A friend of mine told me that if he reaches a certain sales target, he gets a jeans pass. He is allowed to wear jeans for 1 day. Story 29. I was the only one left in the department after everyone else was let go. I was told I would receive a 10% bonus immediately, followed by another bonus later. Instead, I received an email indicating a 25-cent raise had been applied. 30 minutes later, while cleaning out my office, I submitted the most impactful resignation letter I've ever written. I was informed I would never be paid what I expected. Now, I work just 10 hours a week and earn double what I made there. They still call asking for advice on how to handle situations, and I find it amusing. I often suggest they consult legal or review the policy. I am no longer employed there, so please stop calling. Story 30. My job is at risk of redundancy, which is strange considering that last year was the most profitable year ever. I hope their next endeavor is more successful. Story 31. My 5-year service award was a plastic travel mug with the organization logo on it. It is the same one we give away for free at events. They placed it in a paper bag filled with decorative paper, which was worth more than the mug. There was a clear plastic garbage bin outside the venue where the event took place. I tossed it in as I left, and everyone exiting the venue, including management, would have seen it. Story 32. I received a voucher for £20 off a £100 purchase at Waitrose. I was working at a popular coffee chain for minimum wage. Story 33. We were lucky to still have jobs amidst layoffs during the Thanksgiving and Christmas holiday season. Story 34. We received a 9-inch plush toy of our company mascot. They are the same ones we distribute at conferences to everyone. Story 35. A television in the break room. After everyone in the company listed raises as the most important request to management, they decided to placate us with a television. Story 36. A representative from a large multinational corporation distributed Christmas gifts to everyone in the company. Each person received a thin black wine bag, and we all eagerly asked, "Do we get to choose the wine?" Unfortunately, the gift was just the bag itself. Story 37. I worked for one of the highest performing departments in one of the largest companies in the world. My Christmas bonus one year was a packet of Swiss Miss and a candy cane. Story 38. Tickets to the local university football game. We worked at a college bookstore. Nearly all of us, except management and the full-time lead cashier, were students of the university. We could get in for free with our student IDs. The student section was much better than the nosebleed end zone seats he was handing out. He exceeded sales goals by almost 10%, and his reward to us was something we all already received for free. Story 39. What is the worst bonus a job has ever given you? I worked at a small company that implemented a program where each employee received $1 a month to send to other employees for a job well done. You could send someone the whole dollar or distribute it among 10 people, but the total remained $1. This was laughable in itself, but we later discovered that when you cashed out your rewards, it was also taxed, so you were really only handing out 70 cents. I had never seen such a cheap and embarrassingly foolish initiative at work before. One of the other perks at this company was a free financial literacy course. Story 40. They removed me from the role I applied for and enjoyed, placing me in another position that required around-the-clock service to clients. They stated there would be no pay increase, but that this would help me take on more work. I took a week of vacation, returned, and submitted my 2 weeks' notice during training. Story 41. Last year, I worked in aged care during 3 COVID lockdowns, and everyone was exhausted by Christmas. We were all looking forward to our planned Christmas party, but it was canceled due to COVID. They never reorganized a Christmas dinner or provided anything special for us afterward. We received absolutely nothing. I worked on Christmas night, where a typical workplace would leave food and drinks in the staff room as a thank you for working, but once again we got nothing. I quit soon after because it became clear they didn't care about their staff at all and only cared about money. Story 42. The pie chart breakdown shows what the company is actually providing me, not just my salary. I was told that it reflects better benefits than other companies in my area, which serves as an additional incentive. Story 43. I work for a small construction company with a total of 15 employees. I secured a $1.5 million contract on my own, which is the largest single contract in the company's 35-year history. Unfortunately, I did not receive any recognition or reward for my efforts. My bosses both took 3 vacations that year to various luxury locations around the world. Story 44. A $50 gift certificate to Hermes, the upscale fashion chain. The cheapest item in their catalog was a $75 keychain. So it was essentially a gift that allowed me to pay $25 for a keychain I didn't want. Story 45. I worked for a healthcare organization that grossly underpays and overworks its employees. However, it is one of the few major hospitals in my area, so many people have to work there even though they don't like it. One time, they pulled me aside to say that they realized they were underpaying me compared to my coworkers with the same years of experience, but they didn't want me to tell anyone because not all of my coworkers would receive this bonus. It was a nickel. My bonus was 5 cents. I told everyone because it was such a joke. It would have been much better if it had just appeared in my pay without the announcement of this so-called bonus. Story 46. A barbecue lunch was provided every Friday towards the end of the day to cover both the first and second shifts. As I was on the second shift, we had been overwhelmed with a significant project, and the workload fell disproportionately on the night team for various reasons. To express gratitude for everyone's hard work, management hired a barbecue company to cater lunch while we were not present. However, as a result of the lunch, they canceled the regular Friday food for that week. Ultimately, to thank us for our effort, they took away our food. Story 47. I work for a large healthcare company, which has achieved record-breaking profits. My raise was 18 cents this year. They do not pay us enough, and that is insulting. I would prefer an extra paid time off day. Yes, I should leave, but I work from home, and the job allows me to be flexible with my work hours. When you have a child, that flexibility is essential. I am considering sticking it out for a few more years. Story 48. A picture of an ornament with a hole punched in it, allowing you to hang it from your tree. It featured the company logo. Story 49. When I was hired, I was informed that a Christmas bonus of 2% to 7% of my salary was common, which would amount to between $1,600 and $5,600. However, for 2 consecutive years, I and everyone else received only $100. The first year, it was a $100 bill, and the second year, it was a check for $93 because they did not even consider grossing it up to make the check amount $100. Story 50. My work has points that we can award each other for going above and beyond, which can be redeemed for gifts. I spent 2 years accumulating 1,000 points and was the first in my company to reach this milestone. I redeemed all 1,000 points expecting a great prize, but received a small crocheted cupcake, about 5 centimeters in size. After 2 years of hard work and recognition, I received a crocheted cupcake worth less than $10. I immediately threw it in the trash as it made me irrationally angry to look at. Story 51. $100 before tax was given to me genuinely as a thank you for my efforts. I used it to fill my car with gas and get a sandwich. Story 52. We had a lottery of sorts. To be entered, you had to meet certain criteria. 1. Have the highest numbers either on the floor or the forklifts. Warehouse work. I was in the middle of the pack at best. Highest growth. Again, I was in the middle of the pack. Not call out sick at all that month. 3 to 5 people were picked at random for this. I disliked it there. I took at least 1 sick day per month, so that was not an option. I was never going to be in the running for any of these, so I didn't care. Moreover, even if I did win, the reward was a $50 gift card to a series of stores, none of which I shopped at. I did the math. I could have worked an extra 6 minutes a day and received the same reward without having to exert myself. Story 53. Way back in the 1990s, the company I was working for hit $1 million in revenue. They gave us all a gift to celebrate. I received a post-it note dispenser that said $1 Million Club. At the time, I was earning $7.65 an hour. Story 54. A 10% off voucher for their own products was discussed. I argued with the manager about it for hours, and when I informed my team, I apologized sincerely. Story 55. My first job in information technology, I was the only person responsible for several different offices. I ran around constantly trying to get everything done. When raise and bonus time came around, I received a letter thanking me for my work and congratulating me on my 0% raise and 0% bonus. I spoke with the human resources representative who sent it out. I know she just did a mail merge, but that is a quick way to upset a lot of people. Story 56. I purchased a $100 Amazon gift card, but it was taxable, so I ended up paying about $45 for it. Unfortunately, it got lost in the mail, and they claimed they couldn't replace it. Story 57. A bronze medallion featuring the company logo comes with a letter explaining that the company was in a rebuilding year. The CEO did not receive a bonus, but still received stock options worth millions. Story 58. I worked for an electrical tape manufacturer. There were a large number of imperfect rolls available. For Christmas, we were allowed to take home some red and green tape that had defects while clocking out. Story 59. The greatest gift you can have is knowing that you are making a difference. At an all-staff meeting, there was no food other than stale pretzels, expired chips, and overripe mini oranges. Story 60. A ring. After many years of accident-free service, they give you a ring, and every year they add a diamond chip. I don't even wear work-branded clothes, much less jewelry with my work logo. I wish these companies would just add the cost of the things they believe employees would want to the paychecks. In my 10 years here, I have yet to see anyone wear that ring. Story 61. It was right after I graduated from college, during a night shift the night before Thanksgiving. The general manager handed me a pack of gum with a verbal thank you. It is a Fortune 50 company, by the way. Story 62. I do not receive bonuses in my job. After 18 years, the best I have received is a certificate congratulating me on 15 years of experience, which I received after my 17th year. Story 63. A Dunkin' gift card had not been set up, and the balance was $0. Our boss had talked about bonuses, which was highly reminiscent of Michael Scott's Big Surprise. Clearly, she had stopped by the grocery store on her way in and, I think, just taken the cards without paying. None of them had any value. For months after that, we would head out for a smoke and coffee break, which had become long and frequent since the gift card incident, and we would ask her if she wanted anything from Dunkin'. She would just look annoyed and say, "No thanks." Story 64. During the early COVID-19 shutdowns in April 2020, I received a $40 Texas Roadhouse gift card. I requested the cash equivalent because the closest location was 45 minutes away and I rarely went out to eat. I was called ungrateful by human resources. Story 65. A friend of mine saved a company millions of dollars. For his work, he received a certificate and acknowledgement. Story 66. Chocolate bars with the company logo on them were being discussed, and one of the owners expressed how impressive it was and noted that it was not inexpensive to have that mold created. Keep in mind that they are a multimillion-dollar company with a surplus of cash. Story 67. I sacrificed my time outside all winter for this person, enduring temperatures as low as -36 degrees Fahrenheit. When spring arrived, he came to work on his shiny new Harley that he bought with his bonus. I treated myself to Wendy's a few times while listening to his complaints about how much my coworkers annoyed him. The joke was on him. When he received my resignation a few months later, he cried like a child. Story 68. An old employer used to give out turkeys for Thanksgiving, but then realized it was a lot of work to have someone go out and get them. Instead, they gave us cash. They estimated the value of a turkey to be $10. So for Thanksgiving, we received a $10 bonus. However, that amount was taxed at a high rate, leaving us with just enough for a Snickers bar and a bottle of water at the company cafeteria. Story 69. A $10 gift card to Outback Steakhouse. The only thing $10 would get you was a side salad. I gave mine to my coworker so he could actually get an entree. Story 70. Here's the problem. I didn't receive the bonus. My workplace held drawings for a car as a reward for good performance, and every year we had the opportunity to participate. The drawings were always conducted very early in the morning, and the rule was that even if a person wasn't present, they would still receive the car, except for 1 year. That year, my name was drawn, but management, because they didn't like me and I wasn't there, decided I wouldn't get the car and planned to redraw. If they had changed the rule, that would have been understandable. However, the following year, during the drawing, a person who was also absent still received the car. To say I was upset would be an understatement. I only found out about it because a couple of my coworkers mentioned it to me. Story 71. The Christmas bonus was $36 before taxes. The entire team received the same amount, which led to disappointment among employees. The company made a record profit that year. Story 72. I had to evacuate my house because of a wildfire and lived in a hotel for a month while the smoke damage was addressed. My boss wanted to send me a gift to acknowledge what I was going through. A candle. Story 73. Not me, my husband. He worked for a chain store. They gifted him a $50 Walmart gift card, but then took it back when they realized they were not permitted to do so. Another time, they gave him a bottle of strong liquor, so I think they wanted him to get hurt. Story 74. A hat with the company name in neon green. I wore it to work the next day and was told it was too distracting and unprofessional to wear. Story 75. This wasn't a bonus, but our union argued for us to receive higher pay by shortening our lunch breaks and taking away a holiday. What's worse is that union dues increased, so we actually made about 26 cents less per pay period. Story 76. We power wash and perform other construction jobs. Our boss gave us a rain suit with the company name on it as a Christmas bonus. By the way, we are a multimillion-dollar company. Story 77. Clothes with the company name on them and a lottery card no one ever won money on. 1 year, we got candy and a very cheap soup bowl that you could tell was going to melt as soon as you put soup into it. Story 78. A couple of years ago, I received a $25 bonus gift card for extra work I had been doing, which included many hours even though I was salaried exempt. The gift card was taxed as a bonus, and on my subsequent paycheck, about $19 was deducted for tax. Story 79. A small donation from the staff to the foundation of the corporation we work for was appreciated. Story 80. Last year at my company's Christmas party, we gave everyone old expired McDonald's coupons that my assistant found while cleaning her parents' house. Some surprised faces appeared when they opened them. It was a time filled with good laughs and a few shocked reactions, followed by proper envelopes right after. I'm not sure why companies mistreat their employees. I earn the most money, and so do my employees when they feel valued and taken care of. Story 81. Let us leave early on Christmas Eve. We all asked if we would get paid for the full day and were told absolutely. However, we did not receive the full day's pay. Story 82. A propeller beanie. We had just delivered a huge software project on time and on budget. There was a big party in the cafeteria for all the software developers. The vice president, who fit the typical business profile, stood up, called for everyone's attention, and said he had a special gift for all of us. He then went on to say that, to him, we were all just a bunch of propeller heads, at which point his assistants walked in with boxes of propeller beanies and handed one out to everyone. And that was our special gift. Story 83. I worked for a radio station, and they gave us a check for $104.90 because they thought it was cute. After taxes, it was about $80. Thank you. Story 84. The manager came in, excited, and distributed ice cream bars as our yearly bonus. A year later, we were all pulled into a boardroom and given substantial raises by a vice president, who had our manager sitting there, apologizing for having mistreated staff to increase his own bonuses. Story 85. A coupon for 10% off your grocery bill, redeemable on purchases of $100 or more, is only valid at that specific chain. To clarify, to redeem your $10 Christmas bonus, you needed to provide your employer with $100. Your Christmas bonus that year was -$90. Story 86. At my old school district, we had one-to-one aides in self-contained classrooms. The district was well known for having an exceptional special education program, attracting students from multiple countries whose parents moved there specifically for it. The program had ample funding, but we were not part of the union, received about 30% less pay than surrounding districts, and had no insurance. A typical day involved cleaning up after teenagers who were poorly potty trained, chasing after students who wandered away, and unfortunately, restraining physically aggressive students. One year, we were all brought into a special education meeting after school and given a heart-shaped chocolate because we were considered the heart of the school. However, it was not a large Valentine's Day heart, but one of those small candies you find in a pack of 100 for $5. Story 87. A ballpoint pen with the company logo printed on it was our Christmas bonus. Fortunately, my pen had just run out, and I needed a new one. Story 88. Bottle of wine from the principal. There were only 12 teachers at our small school, and several of us did not drink. Story 89. We received a single burlap coaster from our boss's one-month trip to Africa. Not a full set, just one for each of us. We also had to watch a slideshow of the trip. Story 90. Macaroni and cheese was the reward for a 45-day task inside an aircraft fuel tank that was not part of the usual work routine. Story 91. A $5 gift card to a location outside the city, where $5 wouldn't cover the cost of any item the business offered. Nice coupon. Story 92. The company I worked for called in department staff to help with the overnight inventory count. We usually paid an external company to conduct our cycle counts and audits, but that company was going out of business. They decided to end their third-party contract to save money and have us handle it instead. We worked from 8 p.m. to 7 a.m., and most of us had to work a full shift that day, starting at 9 a.m. We finished the inventory and then worked a busy day, being understaffed because a few people called in out of protest. My boss insisted we keep up the pace and mentioned he had a special gift for all our hard work. Finally, 6 p.m. came around. We were all tired and worn out, having been up for nearly 24 hours at that point. As we headed for the exit, our boss met us at the door and smugly handed us each a free soda. Story 93. A $50 gift card to the company merchandise site. The cheapest item was $80. They also attempted to impose a tax on the gift card, so we were essentially compelled to convert $25 of actual cash into a company gift card for the privilege of spending money within the company. Story 94. In the UK, the company I worked for, a mobile phone network, announced their yearly profit as some figure in the high millions. All the staff received a cookie, which was not particularly nice. One year, we were given SIM card readers for storing phone numbers. But they were pretty useless as they caused people's phones to crash and lock up. The business ended up having to replace a few hundred employees' phones. Story 95. When I was a teacher, I won a $20 gift card in a random drawing during Teacher Appreciation Week. It didn't have any money on it. Story 96. A one-time use, 15% off any purchase of $100 or more from the company's merchandise. This offer is only valid for 13 days. The items consist of clothing that features the company's logo. Story 97. I managed a restaurant for 80 hours a week and received free meals. I received a $10 gift card for the restaurant. Story 98. Nothing at all. They wouldn't tell any of us that we weren't getting our bonuses, which were advertised as a reason to accept a minimum salary. The higher-ups would just deflect or say, "I don't know, ask someone else." We knew they received their bonuses. I quit shortly after that. Story 99. Well-off business, millions in profit monthly. A $25 gift card was issued after they canceled our year-end bonus because one shift stopped caring and sent out a large amount of defective product. Story 100. Our company renewed a contract and gave bonuses to the employees who stayed on board. I received a honey-baked ham certificate when my team lead received an $8,000 bonus. Rumors circulated about who received what, and it seems that all but 4 received ham certificates. The 4 who received actual money were not shy about flaunting it. Story 101. I have received a 0 bonus for the last 3 years, and I work for one of the wealthiest companies on the planet. Story 102. I was promised a raise, and they assured me it was coming soon. Then one day, my boss handed me an envelope, and I thought, finally, it's here. I opened it, and it was a letter praising me as a great employee. I had one employee of the month and received a $10 Starbucks gift card. I still regret not quitting on the spot. Story 103. I got a sandwich. That's nice. How about reimbursing me for all the office supplies I had to buy for the company? Story 104. I received a $25 gift card for a local grocery store for Thanksgiving, and the same for Christmas. My worst raise was 0.25%. I almost told them to keep it. I almost forgot the thank you we received from our general manager one time. He brought in a box of sausage McMuffins, just sausage and cheese. This was probably 15 years ago, so we weren't experiencing an egg crisis like we have now. I also know he was friends with the franchise owner, so if $120 worth of $1 sausage McMuffins wasn't insulting enough, I'm sure he received a discount on top of that. Story 105. For Employee Appreciation Week, we were informed to expect a surprise on Friday. We assumed it would be lunch. There was no confirmation from management, but when people inquired, the responses indicated that the surprise would arrive around midday. Management provided us all with a pen. These were surplus pens. They did not even purchase new ones. Story 106. Bag of meat at Christmas from the local butcher. The vegetarians received it too, with no exceptions. The shocking part is that I work in software. Story 107. When I worked at a call center, they rewarded us for exceeding our metrics for the quarter with a $25 gift card. Only one employee out of more than 100 could win it in a raffle. This only increased our resentment towards the winning employee, in addition to our dissatisfaction with management. Story 108. A card. The company usually gave Christmas bonuses and gifts, but at my branch, we had a colleague who objected to receiving a Christmas gift because she does not celebrate the holiday. As a result, they chose not to give our branch anything to avoid singling her out. It's disappointing that we could not enjoy the bonuses together. Story 109. I once received a frozen turkey for Christmas from Morrison's, located 20 miles away. When I received it, the turkey fell right through the plastic bag I used to carry it. They wouldn't give me another one. It remained in the freezer for 30 years before I finally threw it away. Happy days. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.